No, but do you know what it is? No, you just tend to be able to brush off things more.
And then it gets to that point where you start to grow together. You start to become one rather than two. It's actually a good stage, growth.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm in right now.
Yeah, relationships, they take work. Like all them pink, fluffy, fuzzy clouds, they dissolve. Reality kicks in, life kicks in.
Then you have so many pointless conversations. Don't you feel like communicating just gets so pointless?
Depends on what you're communicating about.
Exactly. This is the whole point.
Give me a pointless scenario.
We're communicating, but like we're communicating the small problems, but like the reason why there's small problems is because there's a big problem and we're not communicating the big problem.
So why don't you focus on the big problem?
Because women are not like that. They're
reactive, not reflective.
Yeah, and one thing is I don't hold grudges. Like as in after like 10 minutes, like I'm calm. I'm ready to be cool again.
They tend to get in their feelings.
Yeah, and they might even say yeah they're past it, but they're just not.
There have been moments where I've wanted to leave.
Yeah, you want to get out of here.
Because I'm like, it shouldn't be this hard.
Do you still believe it shouldn't be this hard and it shouldn't be this much work?
I believe I've worked through the hard and put in a lot of work. And so it should at some point start to get easier. And I do believe that it's getting a little smoother, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Am I tripping?
No,
Are we aligned in this belief?
No, go ahead.
Wait.
Go ahead. I think that marriage is always that hard.
Ugh.
Now you have seasons where it's not as like eventful, but imagine one of us is going to die. Like our hearts are going to be broken. Like we're going to have to lose family members together. And trying to love each other through that is hard. Marriage is the most hard. It's the hardest thing you're going to do. The most like rewarding and pleasurable thing you'll probably ever do as well. This right here is nothing but long suffering. Like this is literally, I love you. I don't know how to trust you. You don't respect my things. I value money differently. You don't care. I still love you. I'm losing faith. Marriage will take you through that. And then when you get on the other side of that, you don't even remember it. Like I remember everything.
You do. I was supposed to say clear.
I will never forget. You're not gonna play me.
I need a kiss.
What's going on, YouTube family? In reply to this video, I just want you to take note, anyone that has interest in marriage, or they feel like marriage will complete them, and they have the dream of the big picket fence house, the loving relationship, you'll stay together forever, there's always lit, you've got your partner. If that's your idea of marriage, then you have got it totally wrong. Okay? You've got it totally wrong. Exactly what they have said in this video, I could tell you is facts. And I'm actually speaking from experience now. Once you enter the hard stage of marriage or a committed relationship, you'll realize this. They say after the first 2 years of being married, you start to see the ugly sides of each other. You don't know what happens with life. Life kicks in, and then you've always got to be with someone. So you live with someone, and forget even marriage, but living with anyone, you're going to get on each other's nerves. You're going to frustrate each other. There may be differences in your approaches to maintaining the house or whatever it is. Yeah, that's just a natural thing. That's why you can end up, when you live with your parents, a lot of people, when they get out, when they get older, when there's 2 adults there or 3 adults or a bunch of adults, yeah, there's usually some sort of power struggle. Do you know what I mean? Or just because of human nature, you might enter some problems, and that doesn't go away when you get married. In fact, it's worse because you actually have the option to have a way out. You can separate, you can get divorced. You know what I mean? So they say after the first 2 years, that's when it starts to get challenging. And I'm going through that period now. And, I could lose it all, or I can grind my way through. And there's a lot of things in order to make it work. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of things people have to unlearn. All these rules you see on the internet, red pill content, um, all the things that women say, the expectation of men, like all of that, none of that really works in marriages. Every situation's different, yeah? And you have to be adaptable. You have to say sorry a million times. You have to forgive a million times to really last. Now, some would say, then why would I want to get in that? You know what? I'm starting to question it myself. I'm starting to question, why do people actually get married then? Like, it's nice. The idea, the positives are there. And the idea of the positives win us over as humans. You know, having a partner, having a best friend, um, sex. And everyone knows that it kind of dies down in marriage anyway. But, you've always got a woman there. But yeah, those are the positives. But at the same time, the negatives are probably just as much as the positives. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I actually agree now when people question it. I think the only way it can actually work is if two sane people get together. I'm just saying that. You need to make sure any traumas you have in life, you're healed from it. Yeah, you're actually healed from it. You've had time to yourself and you need to be ready. You definitely need to be ready. That hard stage of marriage ain't no joke. It's easy to want to get out of it. I'm not going to lie to you. So I hear what they're saying. Big up the father and the son that was speaking about this communicating with women and, you know, relationships and, because, yeah, they're so right. Well, the father's so right when he says it's not the fuzzy clouds and all of that. It's not like fairy tale. This is real life. I like the way he's teaching his son these things. And also, he sometimes shows some dialogues with his wife. I just think it's like a real example of family, the good, the bad. Do you know what I mean? And they were talking about the communication. And the son said some communication can be pointless because the way I receive that is I've noticed that, like women and men are different, but we're all similar to our own genders. So a lot of men may have common traits that are similar to the next man, and a lot of women will have common traits similar to the next woman. Do you get what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is when we're talking about generalizing, you will find that with a lot of women you get the same result. And I feel like a lot of the times you would have to take the lead in resolve. And what that means is sometimes they're not going to take accountability. They they seem to feel more emotional. So if you criticize them, they take offense and then they can switch it back on you. And now it's your fault and you're having to say sorry. Do you know what I mean? And that's the basics of how it goes. But that shouldn't matter because as a man, keep your house in check. Sometimes you need to just do the resolve. Anyone that thinks saying, because I was talking to my friend whilst I was going through my situation, and he said, you just have to resolve it. You just have to say sorry. No, but she came at me first. Nah, you have to just apologize for your part in it and, make her feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean? So some would say, but yeah, you're just spoiling the woman. No man should take shit. And obviously, there's a certain level of disrespect. But when you get married, you say for better or for worse. Those are one of the vows. If you get all in your feelings because of maybe words or whatever, then you're not sticking to your vows. Do you know what I mean? And if you're just in a relationship and you're aiming for marriage later, then you need to get used to this. trust me, there will be a lot of sorry from the man's point of view, or let's fix this, babe. Asking for forgiveness, whatever. So it's a mad journey. So if it's this difficult, what are the positives of marriage? Okay, so number one, I think that it builds character. Number two, I think it teaches you how to love. Yeah, because unconditional love, not, oh, I got love for you, or I love you because you're beautiful. Love that you're choosing to perform, and not no fake performance. Like, you're, when it's hard, when it's bad, you choose love over everything. And I think that helps you to love other people, helps you to love your kids better, just your family, everyone. Some people look at things like, oh, that man has lost himself, or, you know, he's weak because maybe he's taken shit from his wife or whatever. But actually, in some ways, you learn patience as well. You learn not to look at every single thing as a big deal. It calms you down, it humbles you, you know, and all of these things help you with life. Do you know what I mean? So I would say, like, it's worth it if you find the right person, but you also got to work on yourself before you get married. Like, if you got any traumas, you got to heal from that. You know what I'm saying? Therapy is good for all of that stuff. No marriage is going to be easy. Like, you're going to go through hard times. Like, know that it's not a fairy tale. Anything they sold to you is a lie. Yeah? It's a partnership, and you will learn to be with someone. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, for me, I'm quick to lock people off. It's not a good trait. It's probably based on trauma. If you violate or whatever, that's it. I'm out. But what I've learned in my relationship is that I can't really do that in this situation. So now I have to face all the painful things that I avoid, yeah, to protect myself. But it's good because it builds resilience and just makes you stronger for the world. Do you know what I mean? You can take on more. And obviously there's a thin line, like I said, if there is some serious violations that you can't bounce back from, or, you know, there's there's infidelity, or your spouse goes against your marriage, then obviously divorce has to happen. Well, it don't, but depending on what you can take, those are reasons maybe for divorce or abuse. You know what I mean? I've said this many times before, so I feel silly repeating it. But the main thing is you always got to try and make it work first, and then, whatever happens, happens. But yeah, man, take this in. If you are thinking of getting married, if you're wishing for it, the grass isn't greener on the other side. I believe that some people should stay single. On this channel, a lot I've promoted marriage. I've promoted healthy relationships. I've promoted people not falling victim to all the bullshit on the internet that make men and women fight, or all this gender war that we see. I've always spoke against it. But what I will say now, going through shit, is that it's not for everyone, man. Especially if you're not ready for it, or you've got deep traumas that you ain't healed from, and you've got a character that's questionable. It's not, man. Listen, you don't have to be married. Like, you can live a single life and enjoy yourself. Now, my stance now is nothing is by force. I mean, I grew up with a Christian belief that, you know, if you find a woman, marry her, because you don't want to be out here doing the madness, and it becomes more risky. Like I said, there's pros and cons. You become more susceptible to diseases if you're just out here doing the madness. You don't know who everyone is. You're meeting too many people. Spiritually, that's not good. But the main thing is, yeah, if you know how to have discipline and you make the right decisions, whether single or married, you can live a fulfilling life. So I say all that to say, it don't have to be done. But if it's something you really want or it's your calling, then just make sure you're ready, man, and healed from any past traumas, and be ready to be patient. That's it. That's why they say love is patient. Because the truth is, the only way to survive married, a committed relationship, is to have patience. And you can't change someone. But what you can do is work with someone and accept them for who they are and build on that. Do you know what I mean?
How you doing, mate? You alright? Yeah, not too bad, mate. Yourself? Yeah, I'm alright, mate. How about you? You alright? Yeah, I'm alright, mate. I'm alright. How's things? You been good? You good? Yeah, I'm alright, mate. Yeah. How's things? You been alright? Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad, actually, mate. You know what it's like. Not too bad. How's work been alright? Yeah, it's been alright, mate. Not too bad. You know what it's like. It's not too bad. How's yours? All good? Yeah, mine's alright, mate. Yeah, it's not too bad, actually. Yeah. So you good though, yeah? I'm good. I'm good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Sorry, mate. I've got to take that. Yeah, no worries, mate. You good though, yeah? See you later. Cheers for that, mate. I got stuck in a bloody loop, didn't I? Anyway, how you doing? You alright? Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, so ironically, I'm filming this in Men's Health Month. It's June as we speak. And I find this video funny. It's funny, but it's real. This video shows some underlying issues with men. Now, it's funny because I relate with it. Like, whenever I see another man that I may know, whether I knew them back in the day, whether I knew them now, we seem to, and it's not just me, it's on the other side too. And like, there's probably only one or two men that are friends in my life, I can count them on one hand, where when it's time to have a conversation, we're going to go deep and we're going to speak some real stuff and we're going to really talk about how we feel. But actually, most men don't. And this is how it goes. What are you saying? You alright? How you doing? How's family and that? And people are not, I don't think people expect you to offload on them. Or I don't think these men, like when you meet like this in this scenario, they really expect you to offload. The truth is, the weirdest thing is you're trying to get away from that situation as soon as possible. I see it in men's actions, and I am also too. Sometimes I avoid awkward conversations. I can see someone that I know, and unless I'm really invested in the relationship with them, I might try to avoid walking towards them. And as people do it too. Have you ever been out as men and you see someone you know and they might have given you a glimpse, or you can tell that they have blatantly seen you, but they're acting like they haven't? Some people don't want the awkward conversation. I don't know. I just think men are uncomfortable with talking too much. Unless, like, I know we got new media, and I know that I'm on internet and I'm on YouTube, and they're saying take our podcast mics away, all of these things. But I probably feel more comfortable talking to you, talking to my camera, than having a normal conversation with someone I once knew, or someone I know, or an affiliate. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. But I think this is why men die early. This is why men resort to anger a lot. Not everyone, but the men that do, this is probably part of the reason. This is why there's issues. This is why men struggle a lot in this life, because we're not built, or we're conditioned to not open up and not to express too much emotion. And when you see an ex-man, because of the conditioning, you just feel like you have to act cool and you don't need to say too much, and you need to keep it moving and everything. And obviously, generally people are busy, so some people ain't even got time to just stop on the road and talk. But the point is like, you can even say things like, oh, I'll shout you later and I'll call you. You know you ain't speaking on the phone. Do you know what I mean? In some cases, I'm generalizing, not everyone does this, but I'm talking about men that the conditioning has taken its toll on them, and unfortunately, I'm one of them. I can't lie. I'm not going to be out here lying about that. So I think it's important for us to do better, because even if you are all right, that other person might not be all right. But you can. It's hard to read between the lines because we know how to mask well. But it's Men's Health Month, so I think we should all be aware of this. And not saying go and expose your business to everyone you see, because sometimes you don't want to do that either. And also, men are told to be a certain way. So if your problems go against the conditioning of a man, then you're probably not going to want to talk about it. I just find it weird. And even though this is a joke skit, it highlighted that for me. Where do we go from here, though? I don't know, man. I think don't be afraid to have a conversation. That's all I can say. At the end of the day, having conversations saves lives. What's therapy? Therapy is just a conversation. They get you to look into your mind, look into your past, and talk. So it's called talk therapy. So you don't actually have to, I've always said you don't actually have to do that with a therapist, but it still has to be like a trustworthy source that you feel comfortable with. But conversation in general, you never know. Sometimes I have conversations and I open up, and then I'm surprised that I feel so much better after. I've ignored phone calls for months, then taken the phone call, then spoke, and feel 10 times better. And then I feel like, what was all the anxiety about? And sometimes once you start talking, the other person starts talking and you relate. And that's why it saves lives, because you get it out. You don't want to be a bottle that fills to the top and then explodes. You got to take care of your mental health. Do you know what I mean? Have a conversation. That's all I can say. I'm sorry to laugh, but this is the most stupidest thing I've ever seen. Maybe not ever seen, but you know, the internet is mad. But this is up there, top 10 stupidest things I've ever seen. Like, I don't get it. Like, why would you want to hang onto a bridge? Why would you even want to hang onto a bridge? Like, I don't get it.
Talo. Sorry.
And also, why didn't he let go? Like, let go of the damn thing. Like, it's like he touched it and got stuck there. Like, there was glue on it or something. Let go. Oh, maybe he was scared to fall on a boat, but I'll be more scared to fall in a river than a boat. Okay, maybe I might hurt myself, body bruised, you know, whatever. Or even break a little bone, but I don't, falling in a dirty river, not knowing how deep it is, yeah, to me, and not knowing what creatures are in there, yeah, to me, I'm not with it. He wasn't at a mad height, so the worst that would have happened is he may have broke a bone. But in a river, he could have drowned. Why did he hang on? He went through the whole boat. He banged into everything on the boat, and the boat left him. And he landed in the river. Listen, people need to stop with all this stupidity. Like, I don't know what possessed him to grab the bridge, and I don't know what possessed him to hold on. And then on top of that, yeah, man landed in the river. Like, come on, man. People, use your brain. Use your brain. Like, and these are adults. Like, I can understand with kids. Like, kids like to do all these things. They like to climb. They like to do these things. But come on, sometimes be grown up. Enjoy the view. Enjoy the cruise on the river. Like, come on, man. Hope he's all right though, man. Anyway, I'm done, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.